Welcome back to Small Caps. My name's Kerry Stevenson. Today we're speaking with Todd Williams. Todd is the Managing Director of E2 Metals. And while all of you have been sitting back having a nice glass of champagne and enjoying your Christmas break, E2 Metals has been hard at it, taking a lot of time, due diligence and getting rigs on site, and the work continues. Todd, welcome back to Small Caps. Good to see you and Happy New Year.
Yes, thanks, Kerry. Happy New Year to you and Merry Christmas and whatnot. And what a great start to the year with gold bouncing back, silver bouncing back. So it's a good time to be back out in the field and drilling out a new gold and silver discovery. Well,
that gold and silver discovery is the gift that keeps on giving by the looks of things, and it's quite appropriate at post-Christmas. But Todd, let's start by just giving a brief overview for those people that don't know E2 Metals. Not a deep one, because there's lots of questions I've got to ask you, but who are E2 Metals?
Yeah, look, so E2 Metals listed on the ASX under E2M, code E2M. Now, look, we're an exploration company focused on, well, gold and silver deposits in Santa Cruz, Argentina. We've got a flagship project there called Consorat, which is 25 kilometres from the world-class Cerro Vanguardia gold and silver mine. And we've recently made a new greenfields gold and silver discovery at Consorat, but at a prospect called Mia. So that's really the high-level overview of the company up to today.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Todd. Now, you've recently raised $13 million. Mainly from the institutional market. It is an exciting time for the company. What was the raising for? I think it was 13 million, is that correct?
Yeah, that's right. So we raised $13 million, mainly from domestic and international institutional investors. And that was really on the back of the high-grade discovery that we made at Mia that we announced in October. Now, that was an exceptional discovery drill hole. So the discovery drill hole was 18 metres at 47 grams gold and 208 grams silver, so truly spectacular. And so that was really the platform from which we raised the money from institutional investors. And really the point of that raise and the sort of quantum of that raise is what we see is necessary for taking Consorat from a very interesting greenfields discovery to, I guess, unlocking what we see as a district scale opportunity, a new epithermal vein field with sort of, I guess, very cliche, but multi-million ounce potential.
Has it surprised you? I mean, that the results from that drill hole were, as you said earlier, quite exceptional. Did that surprise you, Todd, or were you saying, look, we've done the work, we've got an idea that this is a highly endowed area? What are your thoughts on what you discovered? And let's put some context around Mia and kind of, I guess, put it into perspective, because you've had a couple of announcements since then about what you're seeing, and you're drilling below that initial drill hole as well. So could you just explain to our listeners a little bit about what you're finding and whether that's meeting your expectations?
Yeah, sure. So I guess I've had quite a lot of practice contextualising Mia results over the last couple of months, and particularly over the last 2 weeks at the various Christmas barbecues I've attended. And I guess one metaphor that I've found very useful is actually a sports metaphor. And what I say is that the discovery drill hole at Mia was like Michael Clark walking out in 2004 and scoring 151 not out on his debut test in India, and ultimately leading Australia to a 2-1 series victory, the first in 30 years. So that's how I frame it to my layman friends over a beer at a barbecue. And I think that's quite an illuminating metaphor, because essentially what we've done is we've gone out and we've made an exceptional discovery. We've returned an exceptional drill hit. That drill hit is, an order of magnitude beyond what people would call mineable grades at mineable widths. And so then we've gone out with our drill rig and we've done some follow-up drilling, and we've essentially confirmed that the gold silver mineralisation at Mia is real, is shallow and high grade. And to date, we've defined a high grade shoot that extends for over 150 metres and is still open to the west. And, you know, just to sort of, I guess, underscore the potential of Mia and sort of quantify that, some of the drill results that we announced on the 15th of December include hole 34, which returned 9 metres at 11 grams gold and 814 grams silver. Now that's quite exceptional when you look at it on a gold equivalent basis, and it's essentially 11 metres at 22 grams gold equivalent. So a lot of these drill holes need to be looked at in terms of the gold and silver ratios. And so, you know, once again, we're looking at Mia as a very interesting discovery. We've essentially, we've already started looking at, let's call it exploration beyond Mia, because a lot of these systems, they are essentially just narrow high grade shoots. And so when you know, in terms of narrow high grade shoots, they're volumetrically quite restrictive. So they're not huge systems. And that's underscored by, let's say, Serra Vanguardia next door. So if we look at Serra Vanguardia, that's got over 9 million ounces of gold and nearly 140 million ounces of silver. But importantly, all of that gold and silver has been mined from over 60 shallow pits. So that kind of gives you some context around how these systems are distributed. They're not one monolithic blob. And essentially you have high grades of gold and silver in these narrow chutes. But once you've found one chute, that quite often means that you're going to find a second, third, fourth, and so on. Now, just to sort of, I guess, underscore some of the advancements that we've had as a company in terms of exploring for these chutes, late last year we announced that we, I guess, had defined the mineralisation at Mia was basically horizontal and flat plunging, which essentially means that it has a limited vertical extent. But then we identified some targets in a geophysical survey that we completed at the prospect. And that survey indicated that there was, I guess, some anomalies or signatures at depth, which suggested that there was something going on deeper beyond the mineralisation itself. And so what we did is we put a deep exploration hole underneath Mia. That hole was drilled to 225 metres and essentially intercepted a 30-metre wide zone of alteration and veining about 150 to 125 metres below the known Mia mineralisation. And what was really interesting about that hole is, well, not only was it looked exceptionally visually, hence why we put it through the lab for immediate turnaround before Christmas, but it come back with a very nice hit of 4 metres at 1 gram gold and well over 600 grams silver, which once again on a gold equivalent basis is 4 metres at 10 grams gold. And so what we've essentially done there is we've not only extended the limits of mineralisation at Mia to over 150 metres strike, open to the west, but we've also discovered a whole new gold and silver mineralised zone about 100 metres below that mineralisation. So, you know, we are exploring systems that are made up of small, discrete, high-grade chutes, and we're definitely doing our job and executing on our objective of exploring for and discovering more of these chutes. And so we had an announcement out Friday last week. That announcement indicated that we're essentially back at work. We've got 2 rigs on site. We've got a diamond rig and an RC rig on site. And the first plan for those rigs is to follow up this new gold and silver zone that we've discovered beneath Mia. So look, that's the sort of high level summary, and that's where the program's at so far.
Well, you haven't been resting on your laurels. I just want to ask, if I can, look, this rotten COVID, it just won't go away. Is there any impact of COVID in Argentina at the moment, or are you still managing to get people to work and the rigs, clearly 2 rigs on site at the moment? any interruptions at all, or are you pretty comfortable?
Look, no, we're very fortunate that we've got an excellent in-country team, and so COVID hasn't really affected us at all. Look, there are certain protocols that we have to adhere to, but there certainly aren't limitations to our work programs or any impediments. So look, that's the status so far, but as you know, it's very much a moving feat, and but we're confident that with the protocols that we've got in place, that we can maintain steady operations through the first half of 2021.
Okay, so if I can just go back to that 13 million that you raised mainly to the international and domestic institutions, is most of that going to be going into that exploration around MEA, or what are your plans for that in the near future?
Yeah, so I guess the $13 million raised is, I guess, what we see as the quantum of money required to give the entire project a really good shake. Now, Conservat is over 10,000 hectares in scale. We've defined epithermal veins over a 25 square kilometre area, and that's evidenced by the announcement that we made on the 15th of December, where we essentially discovered a whole new outcropping high-grade vein at the Amelia Este prospect. Now, Amelia Este is located 5 kilometres north of MEA, so it's on a completely different trend. And that trend is over 3 kilometres long. So, we've got this really large district of veins. They all need to be drilled. And so it's, the challenge and the opportunity with these epithermal vein systems, and just circling back to my comments around Serra Vanguardia and the, over 60 pits, the challenge is that they are drill intensive projects to operate. The opportunity is that once you get onto a high grade shoot, you have the propensity to add lots of high margin ounces very quickly. And so I guess what we didn't want to do is raise too little funds where we couldn't go back to the market and provide clear line of sight that we have a district scale opportunity and a clear line of sight around, potentially 500,000 to 1 million ounces of gold. And I know, there are certain regulations around making forward-looking statements like that, but that's the sort of yardstick that we need to operate under with the quantum of funds we've raised.
Are you going to be, clearly there'll be a lot of news flow coming out in the near future. You've got 2 rigs on site at the moment. What would you say to people? The last time we spoke, there was a very strong share price. It did have a bit of a pullback after that. Today I looked, obviously the market likes what you've just announced and the work that you're doing. What can investors, and why should they be looking at E2M right now?
Yeah, look, I guess the share price is probably more correlated to investor psychology than it is to exploration success, because, the reality is, as an exploration team, we're very comfortable with what we've achieved in the last 2 months. We've essentially defined, 2 new high-grade shoots in 2 months. And so if all we do is continue to find a new high-grade shoot every month for the next 12 months, I think investors are going to be very pleased with the price performance. Look, commenting on short-term price gyrations, I guess all I can say as a great salesman is the current share price in E2 is a great buying opportunity. And, you can't begrudge shareholders from taking some profit off the table because, we have gone on a very good run in the last 12 months. Our last raise was at 12.5 cents. And, sitting at 61 cents, that's a very tidy profit for most investors. So, look, we're going through the very standard phase of a junior that's gone through a transformative discovery drill hit. And, we'll go through a period where we ingest that price performance. But, look, internally, we're very comfortable with where we're at. But importantly, we've got the funds and the runway required to really take this stock to that next step higher. So I think that's the main point I would try to put across.
Are you going to get any more drill rigs on site, or are two enough for what you're going to be doing in this area for the moment?
Yeah, look, two is enough for us at this point in time, but we're always one drill hole away from complete transformation. You know, if we get some really encouraging results at Emilia Este or Florencia or Patricia, you know, these are prospects that I believe the market almost ascribes zero value to. And I say that because the day that we announced the Emilia Este discovery, our share price fell 10%. So there's obviously no value baked into the cake for a high grade discovery there. So look, I just think really people are looking at us as a mere story. They're not looking at it as a Consorat story. And like I said, we are only one drill hole away from transformation. And if that occurs, then we'll certainly assess how many rigs we need on site. But at the moment, we're very comfortable with two.
I think that's a really good point that you just raised, which is the market has been looking at Mia. Mia was obviously the one that, you know, came up and smacked you in the face with an extraordinary discovery in the drill hole. But as you said, this is a district. It's not just about Mia. There is plenty of work for you to be doing over the next 12 months. Any last thoughts about that you would like to mention to those listening to us now? Because I know you've got a lot of work coming up, but it's all very exciting at the moment.
Yeah, that's right. I think it's just a matter of just providing some final comments to retail investors around what success will look like moving forward. You know, like I said, this is a very drill-orientated mineral system to explore for, and, you know, we're going to be doing a whole lot of drilling over the next 6 months. And, you know, like I said, if you look at Serra Vanguardia, they've got over 400 kilometres of veins, but only 10% of those veins are mineralised. So if you sort of reverse engineering that to your drill hole strategy and exploration outcomes, it basically implies that 9 out of 10 holes should be dusters and 1 out of 10 will return 18 metres at 47 grams gold. And that's just how these things work. So, you know, investors need to be patient. We're a process-orientated company. We're in a great district. We're 15 kilometres from the largest epithermal vein field in the world. We're making some really interesting discoveries, albeit early stage. And we've got plenty of cash in the bank to really give this thing a good shake. So that's the final comment I would leave.
Todd, I think that's a really good final comment, because you're in the right district, you're getting on with it, you're doing the work, and I think there'll be plenty of news flow for those hungry investors out there that are looking at what you're doing with this epithermal goldfield. Thanks for joining us on Small Caps today.
Thanks, Gary. It's always a pleasure.